Yes, there is four components of yourself. You just mentioned it: mental, physical.
Hi, how are you? Welcome to the podcast. It's really nice to meet you. How are you doing today?
Yes. Nice to meet you as well. I'm doing well. How are you?
Great, thank you. Could you please tell us about yourself?
Yeah, so my name is Henrietta. I am the founder of House of the Radiant Rose, and I am a spiritual life coach, a Reiki master, and a personal stylist. And essentially, I just help women release old identities so their true expression could be expressed.
That's incredible. Could you please tell us how you have started your journey? Because you have probably overcome a lot of things on your own as well. And you've told me that you also identify yourself as a light worker and an indigo child. I'd like to also cover that part.
Yeah, sure. So I was raised in Ghana, West Africa, and I came to America when I was 10. Of course, when I came, I had an accent. I still have my accent, but I haven't had an accent. So I dealt with bullying, the things that come with being in fifth grade. Um, I also dealt with just a couple of traumas as a child, which made me go mute. I kind of lost my voice through that process because using my voice just did not feel safe. Um, but unfortunately, I grew up with that pattern of not using my voice. And being an adult, you have to use your voice. At work, I currently have a 9 to 5, so I am a director for an insurance company, and I have to do presentations. But I realized that I'm scared to do presentations. I'm scared to use my voice, even with friends and family. I was scared to speak up. Basically, just the voice was an issue.
Mhm.
And I did not realize that it was a real issue till I realized it was an issue. So around 2 years ago,
Mhm.
something just I'm not really sure what triggered my awakening, but I just started maybe just seeing things. I think a lot of people started awakening around like COVID times. There were a lot of things being put on TikTok, on Instagram. And I think I just started like reading things and it kind of just resonated with me.
Mhm.
And through that, I started noticing, hey, you have an issue that you need to fix so that you can have a good quality of life. And the first thing that I did was Reiki. So I found a Reiki practitioner. She was also a medium. So I had my session and she told me, do I know that I came from a line of healers?
Wow.
And I right now was like, no, nobody has ever told me that before. But for some reason it kind of resonated. So I went to my family, I went to my mom and I asked her, hey, do we have healers in our family? And she did not really understand what that meant either, but she did say that my grandmother on her mother kind of had healing tendencies. So there could be something to it. But as I had more Reiki sessions, I felt like I just wanted to help other
Mhm.
people with Reiki because Reiki just gave me so much peace. So I
Yeah,
became a
that's
practitioner.
incredible.
I, yeah, yeah. I spoke to many people, and I think I spoke to a channeler, and then he told me that was an indigo child. So I also started researching that, and that kind of just,
Resonated
led
with
to where
you,
I
right?
am now.
Okay, that makes so sense. And did you have challenges or like on the opposite when it comes to studies? Like what kind of an indigo child you are? Because I don't have a lot of information and I'd love to hear that. And before you jump into that, I also want to express the difficulty of yours to talk and to express yourself verbally. I can totally relate to that part. That's basically also has been one of my greatest challenges that I'm currently working on. So it's incredible that we are bonding on that stuff. Okay, so please go ahead.
Yeah. So I was told that yes, I am an indigo child and I am a light worker. And essentially, my understanding of that is helping other people, not just women, because I essentially help women, but ideally I can help anyone that just resonates with needing help. But basically, it's to just help people awaken. Like we were brought here to just help people that are currently unconscious, become more conscious and just remember who they are.
That's so true. And within your family dynamic, did you have like loving relationships or also difficulties would come from there as well?
Yeah, I definitely had a lot of challenges in my family. I think they were part of the reason why I wasn't using my voice. Um, I went through a lot of mental abuse. So I just did not want to use my voice anymore. Like it just felt more safe to just not talk. So yes, I did
Mhm.
have a lot of trauma from my family as well.
Okay, I understand. Because my life lessons would come mostly from my family dynamic and the relationships difficulties that I had to go through. And it's been a very exciting road to healing and doing all of this stuff. That's why I also wanted to ask you. Yeah, about using your voice, as I said, that I can also relate to that. I'd say that right now I'm also trying to improve my singing skills, mostly because I find it, yeah, thank you. I find it difficult to do that actually, because of all the things that I've heard, how I've been silenced, and I think even doing some singing exercises help me to release the pain that's there. But I definitely also have watched Reiki videos. They are incredible. I try recommending people to watch them whenever I can. Speaking of the tools that we use, have you ever also used light language transmissions that are, for example, on YouTube? No? I also recommend you watch. Okay, okay.
I've watched them,
Mhm.
yes, but do you mean have do I have
No,
do
no,
I
no,
do light
no,
work?
just
No, no,
if
no.
you've
Yes, I've
watched.
watched them.
Okay, that's incredible.
Yes, I
Because
have.
I find them
Yes.
very helpful as well. I would say that it's incredible that you can do Reiki because I would love to do it in the future as well. Well, I've done it for myself, but it's like still not clear if I'm like very good at that or not. And okay, incredible. Is there anything else you would like to share about the struggles? The old conditioning as well, old conditioning.
Yes, yes. Once you become aware of the conditioning and the identity that you kind of created, it's very enlightening. It's a little scary. It's a lot of things, but for me, once I became aware, it was a struggle because you also start seeing other people. You see yourself differently, but you also start seeing other people differently. So I definitely went through losing some friendships. Of course, with family, it's a little hard to just let your family go, but just being able to also see them in a different way as well. Because if I was conditioned, they were conditioned as well to behave in whatever way that they were behaving in. So it helps you give people grace. Once you've kind of gone through oh, I can't believe I went through this. I can't believe, I kind of created this reality for myself. You also give yourself grace because you didn't choose to go through the conditioning. Um, and you also give other people grace. So it's it's a lot of like moving parts, but overall it's been amazing.
It's incredible. And about your family, have you observed like a domino effect once you started healing? Have they changed their own patterns or not really?
Yes, yes. So I can use my mom as an example. Me and my mom have a great relationship overall, but she taught me how to have boundaries. One thing I did not have with her was boundaries. And through kind of realizing, hey, there's an issue, you have an issue with boundaries, I started, putting certain things in place. And there was a struggle there because she was like, what's happening? Like, I'm used to you just doing everything that I say. But I think in life, you kind of have to teach people how to treat you.
Hmm.
And once I started putting certain boundaries in place, after she, got over, got over being okay with it, our relationship actually got better. I don't feel so much contraction saying yes when I want to say no. And she actually, thinks about things that she wants to ask me instead of just thinking, hey, she's going to say yes to everything. So our relationship actually got better.
That's incredible. Okay, I'm happy for you. I think me and my mom have also found something like a neutral space to be in. I just know exactly what topics I can discuss with her, even though they're a little bit superficial, but at least the boundaries are more or less respected. So I think it's incredible to find that.
Yeah,
Amazing.
that balance.
And usually with your clients or in your own experience, what kind of old conditioning you can address right now that you have noticed? Maybe there are patterns that, I mean, not maybe, for sure there are, that are repeatedly happening throughout generations and culturally as well.
Yes, for me and people that I've observed, I think um, people pleasing, not being able to say no, being an overachiever, perfection, always wanting everything to be perfect. And yeah, just not putting yourself first, putting everybody else first before taking care of yourself. Those are patterns and old conditioning that I've mainly noticed.
That is so true, especially the people pleasing part. I feel like a lot of millennials would relate to that a lot because I've observed a lot of millennials being lost within who they are because they are programmed to people please. Even if they've done healing on themselves, I see that it's hard for them to state who they are and to not people please. I feel like with Zoomers, they are more cutthroat people. Yeah, and
Yes, I see that at the workplace a lot. A lot of like the older generation think that the newer generation just don't want to work. But no, they just have boundaries. They speak up for themselves. They're not going to say yes to something that doesn't make them feel comfortable. And we can actually learn a lot from them. So I agree.
And I think I could learn a little bit softness from you, from millennials, just generally speaking, because I think it's great that you can communicate that. Because sometimes, in order to protect my boundaries, I would find myself being a little bit um, outspoken, and I don't know. I've noticed that it hurts people's feelings a little bit, especially if they are, for example, starseeds from Pleiades or how it's called. I don't know. They feel it with all their heart, and I'm really sorry.
Mhm. I think everything this is about balance. Like we can learn from them, they can learn from us. It's just about balance.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's so true. Okay, amazing. And speaking of the losing your old identity, how many times have you lost your old identity?
Oh my God. I feel like I'm learning new things every day. Like the other day. So I lost a friendship through, this process. And when I initially lost that friendship, I was kind of blaming her a little bit because being more awakened, I saw patterns in her that I felt like didn't align with me anymore. And I was only focused, I knew things, of course, that I did as well to cause it, but I was mostly focused on her. But then through learning more things, I kind of like, there was a day that I woke up and I was like, whoa, I realized, my parts even more that I played in that friendship breaking. And I actually released so much that day. I was crying, having to my husband, like, I'm a bad person. Because it just kind of just clicked to me how you can also play a part in, a friendship breaking or whatever issue that you may be having. So I feel like healing, like there's no end. You're just continuously just learning and growing. And yeah.
Were you able to reconnect with that friend, or you don't feel like reconnecting yet?
I feel like we're just not aligned anymore. I think you can still notice things that I feel like she was like a mirror. So she helped me notice patterns that I also had to work through, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she needs to be part of my, evolution. I think she came, she played her part, and I thank her for it, but that's just kind of where we end things at.
I understand. But I can relate to the part of being like the most enlightened one, that is the ego speaking, and everyone is so irritating. How come you don't understand me, right? Because I also had that. at a certain period of my life, and I felt like nobody really understood me, or everyone were like a little bit shallow, superficial, and I was the only one who was, yeah. Over the time, I finally reconnected to the feeling that because in the past when I was younger, I had that understanding that everyone is special, that they have their own world, even if they haven't evolved spiritually, haven't come to certain realizations. I think I had like there was a curve of me where I have run out of patience and I was a little bit rude to people, and now I'm like coming back to feeling, first of all, very comfortable in my own body, because I was disconnected from it for a while, and then yeah, and then just appreciating people finally in a peaceful way, even if they trigger me sometimes.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a process. It's
Yeah.
a process. I definitely went through that ego as well of feeling like, I guess you feel like you're a little better than them because you have this wisdom that they don't have, but you also want them to have the wisdom so they can, have a better quality of life. But I had to release that ego as well because we all have our journeys. There's nothing wrong with where anybody is. Nobody is broken. They have to go through what they have to go through so that they can come to the other side. Everyone is perfect. We just have our own different journeys. 3 years ago, some of the things I know now, if somebody told me then, I probably would have been like, something's wrong with you. Why are you saying this? Like, what do you mean, we're God? Like, what do you say? So we all have our own journeys, but you also can't force people to awaken. It kind of has to be when they're ready.
That's so true. Yeah, some people aren't ready yet because yeah, they choose to.
No. I think this conversation is actually making me think of what my definition of a light worker is. I feel like a light worker is literally like someone that's just holding the light so that other people can see themselves clearly. So we're not here to necessarily force anyone to see the light, but once you work on yourself so much, other people see that and then they might start asking you questions. And of course, when they ask you, then you can give them, your advice. But essentially, we have to just become the light so that they can also see their light clearly in a way. Does that make sense? Like, let's
Yeah,
be
of
so
course. Yeah,
present so
to
that they can,
embody
yeah.
that energy so people, yeah, just come to. Yeah, I think I've made some videos before, especially for my socials, that I was sharing and helping people, but that advice was also directed to myself. And of course, with time, I've implemented it as well, but it took time. Yeah. And also, how I wanted to say that people tend to hide what's going on with them, right? For example, in my hardest uh, moments of my life, I would look incredible. I would be wearing good clothes. I would be smiling if necessary. I would be chatty. And now I apply it to people because you never know what they're going through actually. Even though it's like a cliche phrase, but I haven't applied it as much as I should have before. Now I'm like more patient towards people.
Mhm. That makes a lot of sense. Yes. Yes. I feel like people wear a good mask. So another reason to just give everybody grace because you just don't know what you're going through. I agree.
I also believe that healing should happen on all the levels, like mental, emotional, physical, and spiritual. For example, somatic exercises were super helpful to me, although it was like one of the last thing that I've done because I think I was used to processing information mentally more, and I was used to detaching from my body a lot. And so I just wanted to recommend people doing all of this stuff because it helps a lot.
Completely agree.
Okay.
Yes, I actually, that's part of my, I guess, process as well when I do, offer guidance to other people that yes, there is four components of yourself. You just mentioned it: mental, physical, spiritual, and emotional. I think some people sometimes just work on one, but if one part of you is not whole, something's gonna break down. So yes, it's very important to take care of all four components. Yeah.
That is so true. Especially the spiritual part. Not everybody is open to that. And many things come generationally as well. And I've done a lot of meditations on releasing generational trauma. And I've seen so many bad things happening to my lineage that I haven't experienced in this lifetime, luckily. But yeah, I wanted to ask you if you have done this sort of healing or if you have any stories to share.
Um, yes. So I think part of being, I guess, a light worker indigo is to also kind of break generational patterns that your family has gone through. To be honest, there are certain things I've noticed that I feel like I'm, I guess, here to break, but I think I'm still on the journey to kind of find out more things. I'm trying to think of something that I feel like I'm here to break. I think I think yes, for us, it's using our voice. I've realized that my family, at least, even though they do things to cause you to not use your voice, I think they also struggle with using their voice in a way. And I think I'm just here to kind of break that pattern. And yes, through meditations and just taking care of your fourfold being is what I call it. You're able to kind of work through that process.
But it's a huge work and you've gone so far. I'm so happy
Thank
for you.
you as well.
Thank you. Thank you. I've noticed that usually women, if we talk about or focus on women, they are being targeted in a sense that mostly their two or three chakras are harmed, being throat chakra and sacral chakra, and maybe like the base first chakra as well. I am wondering if you have a certain opinion on that or any experience with working with these chakras.
So of course I've mentioned the throat chakra and other terms. Well, saying my voice being, having that fear of using my voice. Um, no, I don't think I have much knowledge about the others. I think I've mostly just been focusing on just the throat since that's been my biggest challenge. But I'd love to hear your feedback about the other chakra.
I feel like it's been with everything that is going on in the world, it's been like out on right now that sacral chakra is targeted the most. And because it's like a chakra of creation, of creativity, of desire, of wanting to live, right? Whenever we want to do something, comes from there most of the time. And so uh, sometimes we struggle to express something when our creativity is like damaged or closed in a sense that we don't get this type of energy inflow. And I've also seen that our thyroid is in the same shape as our uterus, so they're like really interconnected. And I find it quite interesting because also in my family and in the culture that I've grown up in, there's been a lot of shame uh, just labeled on women for being attractive or expressing their sexuality, or just a lot of religious shame, which is targeted usually at the, they target the sacral chakra, and consequently you cannot express yourself here as well, right? Because you, yeah, so the feeling of shame is usually um it stayed on that sacral chakra, right? And so I feel like it's like the biggest thing that we have to work through.
Okay. Yeah, that's resonating with me. I do think I guess from my family and just society in general, women are just told that we're just here to just give birth. But even giving birth is such a powerful thing. You're like creating life. But I think a lot of women have just been put into these roles where you just are the home taker, you just give birth. And we're not really shown how powerful we are. Um, the person that actually went to that channel and told me that I was the indigo, he mentioned that women are the leaders, like we are actually the leaders. And I didn't fully understand that, but I understand that now. We energetically lead. And of course, the masculine, leads with action. So I do believe, yes, once women get into their full power, we're not here to overtake the masculine, but I feel like there has to be a balance. And once that balance has been created, things will just be better in general. the world would just be better.
That is so true because we also care about the environment, the people, children, that a lot of men do not care about as much as they should, especially those that are in politics and everything. And I feel if more women are in charge, the better society we would have. Definitely.
Yes, yes. I think if we all just walk in what we're supposed to be, like if feminines were just knew who they were and knew how to just be in their feminine, and then masculines knew how to also be in their, because masculine is not overly controlling. Like you're not supposed to just control everything. But I think a lot of men also were not taught how to truly be in their masculine. They were just taught make the money, control women, and then maybe not abuse women, but just kind of not fully respect women. And it's also kind of not their fault, but just because it wasn't their fault doesn't mean that it's okay.
Yeah,
So I think there
exactly.
just has to be a lot of education as well.
I have also seen someone saying that they are taught not to be women. So basically, not to cry, not to run like a girl, not to do. And because of that kind of upbringing, they start hating on women, which is very sad. And I don't think it's an excuse for their horrible behavior, especially those that behave in a aggressive way.
Mhm. I agree. I agree. I think we just have to do better with our kids. I don't think that the old are necessarily set in their ways, but it will it will take a lot to kind of, bring them to understand it. But I think we just have to just train the newer generations to just do better.
That's so true. And a lot of families in many different countries are actually doing right now this thing. And I'm so happy to see kids pursuing their passions, doing some sports like playing football, even if she's a girl, for example, right? And it's very healing even to observe that.
Yes, 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 yes. We need to get them in to be in their emotions, cry, release emotions. I don't even think men even know what crying truly means. Like you're releasing stuck emotions in your body. It's not about being, I don't even know what they call like a wimp or it's not about, being a woman. It's really just about feeling better. And if they cried more, they will feel better and they can actually think properly. And
That's so true. Yeah, unfortunately, the society is kind of encouraging them to only experience anger, which is also an emotion, by the way, because some people think that men aren't emotional, but anger is also emotional emotion. But I feel if they cried, yeah, for sure, the world would be a
yeah,
safer place.
agreed, agreed, agreed.
Okay, amazing. So there have been a lot of things that people, culture, society shame women and men for. In your experience, what kind of shame you have experienced, or for example, your clients, that you can share with us?
I think when you mentioned, I guess, our sexual power, I guess, there's a lot of women that kind of like have a lot of shame because they do have that sexual, part of themselves. And they feel shame because a lot society has kind of shunned women for being in that power. So that's one thing I have noticed.
Which is very sad because um, the responsibility is put on women for just existing. It's super upsetting because I don't know, from a very young age to hear or to experience the glances and everything, it's like too much, I feel. I hope the world will shift from this weird energy. I feel like it's within the earth energy frequency at the moment because not even men behave this way, but also some animals, for example, turtles and everything. And it's just curious. I've recently noticed the pattern that's like everywhere, so I'm thinking that's maybe the where the Earth is right now, vibrationally speaking. And when we talked about the body, I have recently come to the physical safety I feel within my body thanks to the somatic exercises. And I've noticed how my relationships improved, not only with my body, but also with other people. I'm wondering if you had an experience like that or any other physical manifestations that you have seen and experienced after your inner transformation, so to speak.
Yeah, so for me, in my healing journey, I had to help my body feel safe in using my voice. And that meant a lot of things, of course, through meditation, breath work, a lot of tools. I was able to help my body feel safe. But to me, the biggest thing was just little repetitions of just using my voice. So um, this podcast, for example, like this is a good way to just use my voice, just kind of facing, go like having that fear, but then still facing it anyways. Not forcing my body, but just finding little ways to just let myself know, hey, nothing bad happened when you used your voice. Everything was okay. Speaking up, maybe saying something to my boss that I probably wouldn't have said before. Saying it and realizing, yeah, he might be upset, but I'm still here. I'm fine. I'm safe.
Amazing.
So just letting the body know that there is safety in using my voice has been a big help for me and for other people as well.
Yeah, and thank you for joining the podcast. It's been incredible talking to you. Yeah, my fear of being seen, it's also one of the reasons why I'm doing this podcast, like being heard, being seen. Because mostly I've experienced the thing that you're just there, but I don't know, don't have needs, don't speak up, and everything. I'm wondering if you had the same challenge, or for example, your clients, or anything with that connected.
Yeah, so I think the fear of using your voice is very heavily connected to the fear of being seen. I think it's actually like the same thing. Um, and I think the same thing, just repetition, slow repetition, acknowledging that my inner child created this protective mechanism and just kind of telling her, thank you for creating that because it did bring you safety as a child. Going quiet did bring you safety, but it's okay. I'm now an adult. Having conversations with your inner child, which is basically having conversations with yourself, journaling. So acknowledging her for creating that, being okay with it, and then just kind of releasing that are also ways to kind of like help with that fear.
That is wonderful. So wonderful. That's so true. And once you've done this healing, you said that you can now express yourself more openly to communicate with your boss and everything, right? Have you also seen other parts of your life transform? Any abundance that has popped up out of nowhere, for example?
Yeah. So to me, I feel like abundance is about just living in alignment and helping your body feel safe. I feel like if you just live in your authenticity, I mean, what else can you ask for? And I think through that, I was able to create this business. And to me, having my own business is like my little baby. That's abundance to me. If I stayed in that fear, if I never kind of challenged myself and pushed through that fear, I would not be here today. I would not be on this podcast. I wouldn't have my business. And I wouldn't be living in my purpose, essentially.
Yeah, amazing. Is there anything else you would like to address?
I think we talked about a lot of important topics today. Thank you so much for even allowing me to be on this podcast. You're amazing. I think maybe the last thing that I want to maybe tell the audience is that you're not broken. There's nothing wrong with you. You may just be living from an old identity that you just need to lovingly release. And once you're able to release that, you'll be able to just live in your true expression and just have a better quality of life.
Thank you for joining. Thank you for sharing your energy.
Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. This was great.